Today I'm gonna teach you an incredible technique that will make your 3D printers unstoppable and tireless. Imagine printing for days and days on end without you ever touching your printer again. This is what this technique does. Even though it's slightly complicated to get it done, it's completely low tech. So watch carefully because this technique might make your single machine a full productive farm. Not a lot of you guys know, but I had an e-commerce of 3D printed products. And if I had this technique available like 6 or 8 years ago, probably I was gonna be way more productive than I am today. So if you're a hobbyist that wants to print for days and days on end, or if you are printing for profit and you want to bring more productivity to your production, this is an incredible technique. If you've been printing for a while and you like to print multiple things, your print queue is huge, you've already faced a challenge that actually you are the challenge. If there were many of you, you could probably print way more than you actually do. And that's because you need to start each print individually. What this technique does is that you put an entire queue of prints on a single G-code, and then the printer, by reading that G-code, is going to print multiple files one after the other and spit it out because it's on a tilted angle. Before I start, I gotta say that this technique was not created by us, but it was created by Factorian Designs, and his video is incredible. The link is here in this bio. So if you wish to dive deeper into understanding how he does everything, make sure to watch his video. Right here, what I'm gonna teach you is very much how to apply the technique into the prints that you will printing and how to do it step by step. All right, so this technique has basically 4 different steps, okay? The first one is the beginning of the print, where you are actually going to make the starting process of your G-code that is going to prepare everything for the print. The step number 2 is the print itself. So it's going to actually print the model that you wish the printer to print. And then step number 3 is the ejection. So after the print is done, the printer has to move around to eject the model that is on top of this printer to start the next one. And then the 4th and last step is the actual loop. So how do you make this printer start over and begin your next print that you have put in this very long G-code? So let's go to step number 1, starting the print. Well, the first thing that you gotta pay attention to is because you gotta remove everything that might disturb the beginning of your print. So you gotta keep the environment around your printer very clean because the objects will be spelled out of the printer. So you cannot make it so that the next object might hit something and not get removed. There are a lot of things that will be deactivating directly in the G-code. So the skirt, the brim, the flow test that it does on the side. We're going to remove everything on the G-code. For now, on the outside of the printer, what you gotta do is you gotta make sure that you are using an PEI sheet, because after the printer cools down, it automatically releases the model, and make sure that it's very clean and no glue on it. That's super important because if it does have a little bit of glue on it, as the printer move around, it might get stuck and might damage your equipment. So make sure that you're completely free of glue and nothing will get stuck in here as your printer try to eject everything that you have printed. If you've done that, then you should be good to start your next print. And the rest of the settings we were going to take care at the G-code. Very important, do not use any cold build plate because the print will get too stuck and it's not gonna be able to remove it. I love using cold build plates. It's very good for those models that are very hard to adhere to the build plate. But in this case, what you want is the perfect adherence. Just make sure your print bed is clean because this will help the adherence to happen naturally. And make sure you are using a textured PEI sheet because it's also going to eject easily after it cools down and you can start your next print. So as I said before, we're going to solve pretty much everything in here in the G-code. If you don't know what the G-code is, the G-code is the code that your computer uses to communicate with your printer. So there will be this code that we are going to open it up as a text document and we're going to change a few things over there. And these changes are going to be what's going to make your printer run over and over with different files and different prints that will be stacked on top of each other. All right, so we have a G-code here in the bio, but don't rush to get it. It's gonna stay here until the end of the video. Just make sure you follow the instructions that I'll be doing here with the slicer, and then you can move ahead and tweak your G-codes with the text that we have in the G-code in the description. All right, come with me because I'm gonna show you how it's done. Okay, so you're going to open up Bamboo Lab and then you're going to click on this tab that you find the Bamboo Lab, all right? So click it and then you'll see there are different tabs over there and you're gonna go on Machine G-code. As you can see, there is this Machine Start G-code and the Machine End G-code. We're gonna focus right now on the Machine Start G-code, all right? So now you're going to open up the G-code that we have here in the description. You're going to select everything using Command A or Control A in case you're using Windows, and you're going to change the entire G-code that you have at the start G-code here in the slicer. So make sure to erase the one that is currently there and put the new one that it is in the file that we have over here. Now you're gonna go on save and save it as A1 Mini Automation. And now you already have the version with the start G-code modified. That per se is not done yet, but let's save it as now so we can keep on tweaking. By doing that, the start of your G-code is going to be very clean and it's going to be ready for you to make it multiple times over and over. Now let's go to step number 2, the printing itself. Let's learn a little bit what you need to do in order to get this step also successful. So now all you gotta do is you gotta slice the part as you would with any print that you wish to make. However, there are models that are going to be easier to apply the technique, and we're talking about the taller models because we are going to have to push the model out of the print. So if it's a tall model with a slightly smaller base, it has a little bit more angle for you to tilt it. It's going to be easier for it to fall off the build plate. If we have a very small and with a wide area, it's a lot harder for you to remove it from the build plate. So I do not recommend you to start with these types of models. Let's start with models that are tall, then you know that it's going to be easy. And then as you evolve, as you try it out, perhaps you can try a different model. Just make sure that you're looking at the initial stage so you know that it's actually working, and then you can multiply that G-code multiple times. So what I did and what I recommend you to do is to, at least for the first time, take a look and make sure that it's actually working. Because if it's not, you might end up breaking your printer. So that's not what you want. Make sure that you have tested out, that you saw that it's working, and then you can go ahead and fully automate it and go crazy like we did over here. But just make sure that you got everything settled before. So to give you an example, what are the types of things that you can do? Like tall statues, vases on vase mode are really good because they print fast, and then you can put as many as you want in sequence. So yeah, what we're talking about here is statues, slightly taller models that you have. Another important tip here is for you to deactivate brim and skirt, because it might happen that the brim and the skirt are gonna stay in the build plate and the next print is gonna start on top of that. And if you have multiple on top of each other, it might give you a trouble. So just make sure you deactivate, it's easier and safer. One model that we tried over here that didn't really work well is the crochet capybara that we have. And the reason for that is because it's an articulated model, it has the legs, it has the body, so it's a lot of different parts that you have on your build plate. Once the printer pushes it off, it might happen that one gets stuck, then it's gonna start on top of the next one, causing a big issue. So I do not recommend you to use these types of models in the automating process because it might give you some sort of error. As you guys know, there are ways that you can put multiple on a single build plate. When we're talking about printing small in a lot of different models, I think there are better methods to enhance your productivity than using this one. Another thing that I think it's important for you to avoid is models that you have a perch tower. A perch tower has a lot of skirts and brim, especially because it's an object that we don't want to come loose mid-print. So it's very much glued into the build plate. So perch towers, I would avoid in this process as well. That doesn't mean that you cannot do color prints using this technique. However, that means that you have to remove the perch tower and that you have to use the flush inside the infill, which might result some stains, but if you really wish to try it out, I recommend you to try it and see how it works for you. Another very important factor here when we're talking about the printing stage is that you need to have your printer at a tilted angle, because that per se already makes the gravity help you to remove the piece as the printer move along to remove the model that you have printed. So we do have the models here in the description. Just make sure to download and install it correctly, because having it in an angle, it's what's gonna help you to remove the pieces easily. Now let's talk about the exciting part, the ejection. And I gotta say, this is very cool because it's when you see the automation starting to happen. So everybody saw a 3D printer printing an object, but when you see it ejecting automatically, it gives you a lot of room to imagine the applications that you're gonna do with it. So this is the exciting part. Let's talk about the ejection. As you might imagine, this step is crucial for the success of the entire automation. So just make sure to pay attention to these tips and tricks in order to ensure that your automation is going to be successful as well. So in this step, we also have 3 sub-steps. The first one is the cooling of the build plate. Well, it prints heated up, then you have to cool it down, wait for it to cool it down so that it automatically gets the piece unstuck from the build plate. The next one is the pop or the ejection itself. And the third step is the cleaning of the build plate. But don't worry, because all of these 3 steps are going to be automatically added in the G-code. I'm just explaining to you what the printer is going to do so you know what's happening when you see it happen. So for the cool down, we did run a few tests to understand what was the ideal temperature we would have to achieve in order to remove the model successfully and safely as well. What we found out is that 22 degrees Celsius would be the ideal, but 25 degrees Celsius is the best spot. At 30 degrees Celsius, we already found a lot of resistance. We didn't think it was safe, but there is a very downside for all of that, because the printer takes about the same time to reduce from 60 degrees to 25 as it does from 25 to 22. Well, it would be better if we could remove at a higher temperature, but that's not possible. This is why for the safe range, we are using 25 degrees Celsius at our G code. Okay, so let's take a look at the text that we have over here. As you can see, we have our end G code, and then if you scroll down, you will find the start cool down section. And this is where actually starts the cooldown. And as you can see, we have multiple different lines over there, which means that every single line is going to make your printer wait for about a minute and a half. And where you see the S over there is the temperature that it's going to try to reach. So as you change the S over there, it's gonna say, hey, wait until it reaches that specific temperature, all right? So what you're going to do is you're going to set the S over here to 25 degrees Celsius, and you're going to multiply this line several times. Let's make it 20 times over. So just make sure that it's going to reach the temperature without ending the waiting time that we have set over here, okay? As you can see over here, we did 22 degrees Celsius because I don't know exactly why, but it starts at about 3 degrees more than what we have here in the G code. So I put S22, which means that the printer is going to start the process at 25 degrees Celsius, all right? So for the sake of productivity, we have put S22. And then you go ahead and you save it to have the standard setting that you already have and keep this file stored for now. So what this code is going to do is going to tell your printer to wait until the print bed reaches the temperature, 25 degrees Celsius, then it's going to lower it down a little bit, and it's going to kind of sweep the model out of the build plate, right? It might happen that since the printer is tilted, that as it cools down, it's going to automatically make the model fall. But if it doesn't, the printer is going to gently press it and eject the model with no hassle. All right, so that was the pop phase. The next one is the cleaning of the build plate. Well, what your printer is going to do is it's going to go as low as it can, and it's going to gently sweep from one side to the other, just guaranteeing that there is no model left over there before it starts the next print. So this is a very important stage, but don't worry, everything is already in the G code. All right, so now let's apply these settings to the G code. So you're going to click on the Bamboo Lab and you're going to pick your automated A1, all right? Then you're going to go on Machine and G code. You're going to select everything, delete it, and apply with the code that we have just edited in that text, all right? So we're going to copy and paste everything in the machine and G code. So that is going to automatically tell the printer to do everything that I have just described, all right? It's as easy as that. If you want to make sure that your printer is configured correctly, you can always go to the G code visualizer and then change it to path and see at the end of the G code that it has all the movements of the cleaning process. Okay, so now you have everything set for you to create your original G code. But now is a very crucial moment because you are going to set the loop. Up until now, what we have done is we have created a G code that is simple at the start, and then it has the cleaning process at the end. But that per se does not create automatically the loop. So we're going to create the loop right now. Pay attention. Now that you have sliced your first model, you're going to save it as a 3MF. A 3MF is nothing more than a zip file, but for 3D printable models. So it carries a lot of information inside a single archive. So it compresses a lot of different things about a 3D model, a 3D printable model on a single archive. So this is why it's kind of like a zip folder, but for 3D printable models. So you're going to click on your 3MF and you're going to unarchive it. And if you're using a Mac like I am, you do have to have this little free software called the Unarchiver. So you're going to right click, unarchive it. Okay, so you're going to save it, and then you have this folder that you can open. So you're gonna open, and then you have all these different folders right here, and then you go and click on the metadata. Inside the metadata, you will find the plate 1 G code. And now you can right click and open with any text editor that you have, okay? So what you have in here is a G code that has the start and end G code for our infinite loop. So you're going to Command A, copy the whole thing, and Command V as many times as you want. All right, so now you can put as many of that single file as you want to print in sequence, but if you want to alternate a little bit between different models, you can also do that. It's another way that you can gain productivity by doing not the one single model, but multiple different models as well. However, you cannot use an old model, a model that you have already sliced before. You have to slice it again because you need the start and end information that we have put in the G-code. So just make sure that if you're adding multiple G-codes differently on top of each other, you have to have them sliced again. And to get that G-code, it's the same process. Unarchive it, find it inside the metadata, open the G-code, and copy the G-code that you find it over there. All right, so what you gotta do is you gotta save your G-code, all right? And it's going to be inside that folder, and you have to recompress it. So you're gonna select all the folders that you have over there, and then you are going to right-click, and then make sure you compress it. So it's going to compress it as a generic .zip file, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to rename it with the name that you want, and that you understand that is your automated G-code, and then you're going to use .gcode.3mf. This is super important because it's gonna ask you if you actually want to change the extension. Just make sure you do change the extension, that you have no typos in it, and now you have a 3MF that you can handle as you will handle any 3MF folder. So you can put it inside your printer via micro SD card, or you can send it over through the cloud as you wish. After you open this G-code again on your bamboo slicer, if you push down on the process, you're not going to see multiple prints happening over and over. What's gonna happen is you're only going to visualize the last model that you are printing, because all the rest is not gonna be visible on the visualizer. No worries, this is exactly how it's supposed to be, even though it's not very trustworthy, but don't worry, it's fine. One thing that I do have to say though is that putting a lot of models on top of each other, a lot of G-codes on top of each other, it's going to make your file heavier. So it might be trickier for you to send it through the cloud. However, you can still save it on the little SD card and insert it directly into your printer. You can do that if you are having issues sending it through the cloud. What I'd recommend you to do is don't put anything longer than 24 hours because that's not needed. If you want to spend like the entire weekend away and you want to print multiple things, you can do that. But if it's in your daily lives, I don't know, I'd say 20, 24, 12 hours, it's more than enough. You don't need to stack as many G-codes on top of each other, because even if you just have to go ahead and press print again, it's easy. You can get your build plate, clean it up for a little while. I don't think you need to stack as many G-codes on top of each other, so you still have an eye on what's happening. And if you're enjoying this process so far, just make sure to like and subscribe to our channel, and also tell me in the comments, which model would you like to put on a huge print queue to print it over and over and over, as many as you can. Also, something that is very important for you to pay attention to is the amount of PLA that you will be printing, because if you were stacked on top of each other 4 files of 300 grams, that's more than a kilo. It's not gonna be enough for you to print with a single spool of PLA. So just make sure that you do have enough filament to print the entire process, all the G-codes that you put in this very long G-code. And you're all set. So now you can set your printer to print multiple times and enhance the productivity of your 3D printing farm by a lot, because you are not going to be the person keeping your production stuck, all right? So this is a very cool process. It's a little bit long, it's a little bit technical. I recommend you to start slow, try it out, try with 2 pieces, 3 pieces, and then move as you go and understand a little bit better how this entire automation process works. But I recommend you to try it out, see what happens for you. It's a cool process. It can give you a very big boost on productivity. Well, as always, if you want to learn some more about 3D printing, about entrepreneurship, and now even about how to paint your 3D prints, just make sure to check STL Academy for all the educational content. When right now we do have our 3-year anniversary that gives you 3 years of unlimited access to all courses that we have inside STL Academy and the entire content, the entire library of models that we have in STLFLIX. So if you want to, click the link below and make sure to subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Stick with us and I'll see you in the next one.